Hello, class. Good afternoon. So, how are you? I hope you are doing fine. As I have given you a week to rest after our prelim. So now let's start with our topic, our next topic, which is the chapter 2 of your reference material, which is the police planning. So what is now the role of planning? So from the word um, planning. So what is now the role of police planning? So many police agencies are resist to change. So why do you think that police officers or the police agencies resist to change? Because police officers resist to change because they are going to start over. They are now start from the bottom. So they're going to start from scratch, wherein they are going to plan or to make or to formulate a plan that would be helpful to the community. So police organizations frequently fail to determine shortcomings of existing practices through research and analysis. So they are reluctant to experiment with alternative methods of solving problems. So the police service must encourage, indeed put forth a premium on innovation, research, and analysis. So the police agencies should adopt or should innovate their strategies, their ways, their plans that is applicable now to the society we are facing or experiencing or happening. So research and analysis, self-criticism, experimentation, and business management. So why do police agencies resist change? Because police officers, so they have formulated plan that will be helpful for in the next 5 years. So because police officers do not innovate or do not adapt for a new plan, so there are instances that the plan they had made before is not or is unapplicable to the society we have today. So that's why police agencies are being encouraged or tasked to innovate through research and analysis. So as police planners undertake the tasks that lie ahead, they must develop an atmosphere that permeates the entire organization, but which is managed in such a way that it is not disorienting or threatening. So plans are good. Of course, plans are good. Planning is vital. So planning is very important. But if they are kept in the inner recesses of the office filing cabinet, they mean nothing. So the advice is execute your plan. So its real measure of soundness is in the execution. Success is 1% instructions and 99% supervision. So now let's go with the police planning itself. So what is now police planning? So what is the definition of police planning? The police planning is defined as the process of combining all aspects of the public safety activity and their realistic anticipation of future problems. So you have to anticipate for future problems in your agency or your department. That's why you have to plan, because you are going to anticipate future problems. Next, the analysis of strategy and the correlation of strategy to details. So analysis of strategy. So what strategies are you going to use, or what strategies are you going to apply to your plan? Okay? The use of rational design or pattern for all the public safety undertakings. So, of course, planning entails also that it includes safety upon implementing your plan. Next, the act of determining policies and guidelines for police activities and operations. Next, providing controls and safeguards for such activities and operation in the police forces. So police planning is deciding in advance what it is or what is to be done and how it is to be accomplished. So it is in essence preparation for action. So now planning become your preparation for your action. So police planning is the key to administrative process. So the process of combining all aspects of the public safety activity and the realistic anticipation of future problems. So police planning also means the act of determining policies and guidelines for police activities and operations and provide controls and safeguards for such activities and operations in the police forces. So what is now the types of planning? So there are three types of planning. So but we are start with the strategic planning. So what is strategic planning? So it is a long-term and with far-reaching impact. So the commonly agreed timeline for these types of plans is more than 5 years in duration. So if you are going to make a strategic plan, you should envision it to be it would be applicable within 5 years. So this is usually done at the executive level. So what are now the steps in the strategic planning process? So step one. Step one means defining the mission of the organization. So what is now mission? So mission is the fundamental unique purpose that distinguishes an organization from others of its type. So that mission distinguishes you to the other organizations. Diba? Examples, what is the BITIC's mission, vision, and goals? Or the vision, mission, and goals. So that mission distinguishes you to the other organization. So you have to determine your mission. So an organization must first assess its mission in order to determine the more specific objectives and goals. So what do you think? So in making a strategic plan, so what do you envision to, or what do you want your what do you want your plan to accomplish? Who would benefit to your strategic plan? How will you? What should be the resources needed in order to implement your plan? So that are one of the considerations in order for you to effectively make your strategic plan. So the mission of an organization is the fundamental, unique purpose that sets the organization apart from others of its type and identifies the scope of its operation. So the mission identifies the scope kung asa taman ang imuhang operation. So mission is the fundamental, unique purpose that distinguishes an organization from other types. So the mission statement should address three important issues. So the mission statement daw address the three important issues. So what are those issues? So what organization are we in? Are you an institutional organization? Are you a business organization? Are you a police or military organization? A police organization? So it now define what organization do you belong. Next, who are our clients? So who would benefit your plan? Next, what good or service will we offer? So by determining the mission, you are now distinguishing yourself on what service will you offer. Say for example, if you are an education organization, so I will offer a quality education in global excellence. So that's the service you want to offer to the organization you belong. So the mission states identify the uniqueness of an organization from each other. So they represent the foundation for property, strategies, plans, and work assignments. So although the mission of an organization can be modified over time to reflect changing environmental conditions or different managerial philosophies, it always serves as a reference point for managerial thought and action at a specific point in time. So mission can be changed over time depending on the changing environment. Next, what is now step 2? Step 2 means developing organizational objectives. So the next step after determining the organization's mission is to establish how that mission is to be accomplished by the organization. Now, it is where you formulate your objectives. So your objective are your guideposts in defining standards of what the organization should accomplish in providing direction and motivation. So what are the 3 benefits from developing objectives? So what will you achieve or what will you get when you develop objectives after you formulate your mission? So first, it provides direction. Clearly defined objectives specify an end result for the organization. So that means your objectives, it is where you are going through. Di ka kailangan mo tipas. It's because you already defined your objectives or you already have formulated your objectives. Next, serving as standards for evaluating performance. So this serves now as a standard for evaluating your performance. Accomplishments can be measured against these standards and performance can be evaluated. So without clearly defined objectives to serve as standards, managers possess no tools for evaluating performance. So no means of deciding whether work is satisfactory or unacceptable. Next, motivating members of the organization. So your objectives also motivate the members of your organization. So objectives perform a role in encouraging workers to put forth their best efforts to achieve the end goals. So employees who understand the objective of profitability and their role in generating profits may be motivated to work harder or more efficiently under a bonus or other profit-sharing program. So if ever you have already formulate your mission, after your mission you have given your objectives. So your objectives should also motivate members of the organization. It's either say for example, you will say once we achieve a new client, you have you will gain an incentive. Say for example, if you sell a 1 million worth of house and lot, that broker will have an incentive. So that form of incentive also motivates the members of your organization to attain your objective. Say for example, your objective you would have 5 clients who will purchase $1 million worth house. So if that objective is accomplished within a month, so you should also do your bargain, give incentives to those people who are under your organization. Now let's go with the characteristics of soundly conceived objectives. So what are the characteristics that your objective is soundly conceived? So first, you have specificity. So objectives should be specific. So no paligoy-ligoy, you should stick to what you are going to achieve. What do you plan to achieve? So specific objectives should be specific. Next, that is measurable, or it could be measurable or measurability. characterized by measurable standards of performance. So you make sure that your objectives